Oh, excuse me. I was playing a little Zelda here. Good morning. You caught me studying occult sciences. Well, welcome to another installment and another chapter of Low Magic. It's all in your head. You just have no idea how big your head is. And today we're on chapter 3. And it's a relatively short chapter, so we're going to finish the chapter today. It's called The Law of Attraction and the Power of Intent, and my date with Linda Kaufman. So, if you're ready. Of course, it starts with a couple of epigrams. Intent is the mechanics through which spirit transforms itself into material reality. Deepak Chopra. And his book that was a quote from was called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. In the last few years, we've heard a lot about the law of attraction and the power of intent. At the risk of being shunned and ridiculed by the more hardcore wizards of the occult community, I have to confess my deep and abiding respect for the works of Louise Hay, Deepak Chopra, and Dr. Wayne Dyer, among others, for bringing to a wider audience of seekers the fundamental secrets of true magic in ways that are understandable and acceptable to people of all spiritual backgrounds. Perhaps you don't think that such fluffy New Age pundits could actually be tossing around the supreme secret of the ages in public television, sandwiched between cooking shows and reruns of masterpiece theater, but they are. Magic may be the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, but the mechanism of that will can be at least partially described by the single word intent. Magical theory suggests that everything in the universe is the product of intent. I wouldn't dare to attempt to prove this vast and unprovable statement, and God forbid I would dare open up the absurd intelligent design can of worms. I will, however, not hesitate to point out how many things in our shared reality, objects, inventions, events, ideas, religious and political movements, even our view of time, can demonstrably be the direct and unambiguous products of intention. Take this book as an example. It's my intention to communicate a few of my thoughts and experiences concerning magic to as many people as possible. It is also my intent to earn some money in order to help keep a roof over my head and sustain a modicum of self-respect for myself and my family as I look to the fast approaching years of my dotage. It's my publisher's intent, among other things, to provide a quality literary product in such a manner as to make the maximum benefit from the minimum expenditure, and to provide information and entertainment to the book-buying public, especially those individuals whose interests are in harmony with the publisher's philosophies and interests. Furthermore, it's the publisher's intent to keep his or her family of employees, subcontractors, printers, distributors, suppliers, etc., gainfully employed and contributing to the intended support and the well-being of their families and communities, etc. As the reader, I'm assuming it's your intent, among other things, to enrich your life with the knowledge and ideas presented in this book, and to use this information and insight for your own intended applications. Magical intent has much in common with what we normally associate with the concept of willpower. It is, however, something much greater than the teeth-gritting power of concentration to force something to happen that was otherwise not going to happen. Magical intent is more of a matter of seeing what you truly want so clearly that your vision, indeed your love of the vision, creates a living entity. Faced with the birth of this new cosmic citizen on the creative plane, the universe has no alternative but to rearrange conditions on the material plane to accommodate the complete manifestation of this now inevitable object or event. You may find this hard to believe, but I learned the secret power of magical intent when I was 6 years old. The inspiration for my operation was my kindergarten classmate, Linda Kaufman. She was the most beautiful girl at George Washington Carver Elementary School in Lakewood, California. I always arranged to sit near her for rhythm band and finger painting. She seemed to enjoy my antics, especially my sophisticated ability to bark like a sea lion. I also had the pity factor working for me because for the first months of my kindergarten year, I was forced by a serious hip condition to walk with the aid of crutches. I was insanely in love with her. And each night as I lay in bed, I fantasized how I would take her to the movies on a real grown-up date. I correct myself. It was not a fantasy. It was a vision of a perfect moment of love, a perfect vision of love given and love received. For months, I rehearsed the scene in my imagination. I'd be dressed in a suit and tie. I would somehow drive her to her house and pick her up. I'd meet her parents. Her father would invite me into his den and offer me a cocktail, like they drank on the television show Topper. Then Linda would appear in a pretty new dress and we'd drive off to the movie theater. I'd buy us some popcorn. We'd find seats near the front and share our popcorn and giggle. Then, when the lights went down and the film began, she would take my arm because I'd be too shy and polite to do it myself, and put it around her shoulders. And she and I would snuggle close for the whole movie. It was a lovely dream, and I was determined to make it happen. During Christmas vacation in 1954, I approached my mother in the kitchen and told her I wanted to take Linda Kaufman to the movies. I ordered her to call Linda's parents right now and arrange everything. It was a bold move. I was conjuring a dangerous demon. My mother could be unpredictably violent and cruelly abusive. It was such an odd little command, however, that I think it took her completely off guard. I didn't have the slightest doubt that she would obey my command. She stared at me for a moment and then picked up the phone and called Linda's mother. They laughed and gossiped for what seemed like hours. When she hung up, it was a done deal. New Year's Day, 1955, was a Sunday. The perfect day for Linda and me to see the new biblical epic, The Silver Chalice. Mom and my older brother Mark, he and his date would be our chaperones, waited in the car. I, dressed smartly in my Sunday school sports jacket and clip-on tie, knocked on the door of the Kaufman residence. Her dad answered and invited me into his den and told me to sit down. "Would you like something to drink?" I couldn't believe this was happening. He poured us each a heavy highball glass of ginger ale and ice. I'd never tasted ginger ale before. Was this a cocktail? Linda soon appeared with her mother and spun around to show off her new dress. I was sure the ginger ale was taking effect. Everything, almost to the last detail, was happening exactly as I envisioned, and it didn't stop there. At the theater, with my brother and his date following discreetly behind us, I bought popcorn, and Linda and I found our seats near the front. We giggled and munched, and when the lights dimmed and the big Warner Brothers shield beamed at us from the silver screen, Linda Kaufman, my goddess, the love of my life, grabbed my arm and put it around her shoulders, where it remained locked in sweaty, painful ecstasy for the next 2 hours and 22 minutes. At that moment, I knew that my mind, my dreams, had the power to make things happen. I knew there was some kind of living intelligence that hears the yearnings of my heart, a being, a God, with the power to bring into reality anything I imagine, anything I intend. However, it would take me the better part of the next 50 years to understand the nature of that power is love. And without that vital ingredient in the recipe, my magic would always fall short of perfection. And that's it for today. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, your long holiday weekend, and continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.